guys, I experienced my stroke in April of 2020. I had a really bad headache, like the worst pain I've ever experienced. And then we got in the car
and we were driving down Highway 6 at Rock Prairie Road, and Kyler turned to me very confused and he said, you know, Mom, did you put me in the car? How did I get in the car? And this didn't make any sense. And then he said, I have to throw up. And I thought, well, that's weird. You know, he was just normal a second ago. They diagnosed Kyler as having a severe migraine headache. It didn't seem like a severe migraine to me. And the doctor was like, well, you know, if you don't think it's a headache, you can drive an hour and a half to the Woodlands and have them check him out at the hospital.
Going down the road, I just forgot everything, who I was, everything, and I don't remember anything after that.
And when we got there, they did a CT scan, and like within less than 5 minutes of that CT scan, the woman just grabbed my hand and she said, your son has a mass in his brain and he's bleeding in his brain and he needs emergency surgery. It's very serious. They transported us via ambulance to the main hospital at Texas Children's. They did emergency surgery on Kyler. They put in a shunt to relieve the pressure and to kind of help drain out the blood. We had to tell him repeatedly what happened. Why am I here? What's happened?
Next thing you know, I'm in the hospital with a tube coming out of my head and it's draining spinal fluid. It was extremely scared, very scared.
Nobody will talk to me. And the doctor's like, I'll walk out of the room. And this one doctor, this lady doctor, she comes back to me and she said, they're not going to tell you, so I'm going to tell you. You can't fix this. This isn't going away. She said, this is an AVM and it's too big. And she just turned and walked out of the room. So what an AVM is, it's arteries, which are very high flow, right? That connect to veins, which are very low flow. Arteries should never connect directly to veins. And eventually, you know, it can't sustain it. And so it ruptures. So Kyler's arteries are, I think they told me 10 times their normal size in his head. They're just like stretched. In a brain AVM, a gene screws up. And the way that most AVMs are found is just like Kyler's. It's when they rupture. And the average age of an AVM to rupture is 17. And Kyler's ruptured at age 15. And his AVM is about the size of a hen's egg. He actually walked out of the hospital at Texas Children's 8 days after his stroke. But they said, your AVM is too big and we cannot help you, so you cannot come back. We actually interviewed 16 neurosurgeons across the United States and one in Germany. So Kyler had 3 rounds, which was done every 3 months of radiation. And it can take, you know, 3 to 8 years to see if the AVM shrunk enough that you could remove it. After his 3rd round of radiation, Kyler developed epilepsy. The brain, everybody's brain reacts differently. And so sometimes when you go in and you have radiation, it causes a little bit of swelling. Kyler's brain went, radiation, I'm gonna overreact. And his brain—
Marshmallow.
Yeah, marshmallow. And so Kyler's brain started swelling. And we couldn't get the swelling to stop. Midline shift is when you get so much swelling that the brain shifts over, and that can be deadly. That is very dangerous. And in December, Kyler had a midline shift from the brain swelling. We went in every 2 weeks, and the Avastin chemotherapy definitely saved his life. The number one cause of a brain bleed in a child, excluding trauma, like, you know, they fall, they hit their head, whatever. The number one cause of a brain bleed is a brain AVM. That's why we started AVM Alliance, a cure for Kyler and friends. So we're gonna raise money to try to find a cure.